Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever had an idea that excited you so much that you could almost see your future changing? Maybe it was starting a YouTube channel, writing a book, learning a new skill, starting a business, or simply improving your life. For a moment, everything felt possible. Your mind filled with images of success, confidence, and freedom. But then, something happened. You didn't start. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. And somehow that powerful idea that once filled you with energy slowly faded into the background of your life. And if you're honest with yourself, it's not that you didn't want it. It's that something invisible seemed to stop you. Maybe you told yourself you weren't ready yet. Maybe you thought you needed more knowledge, more confidence, more time, more money, or the perfect moment. But what if I told you something surprising? What if the thing stopping you doesn't actually exist? Let me tell you a story. A long time ago, in a small quiet town, there lived a young man named Ethan. Ethan was known as someone who always had big dreams. Every time he talked to people, he spoke about amazing ideas. "I'm going to start a business one day," he would say. "I'm going to write a book that inspires people. I'm going to travel the world and build something meaningful." People would smile and say, "That sounds great." But there was one strange thing about Ethan. He never actually started anything. Every year he had a new idea. Every year he talked about plans and possibilities. And every year, nothing changed. Inside his mind there was always a reason. "I'm not ready yet. I need more experience. I should learn more first. I'll start next month." Next month turned into next year. One evening, after another long day of thinking about his dreams but doing nothing about them, Ethan went for a walk outside the town. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and gold. The air was calm, and the streets were quiet. As he walked along a narrow path near the edge of the town, he noticed something strange. In the middle of the path stood a tall wooden barrier. It was old and rough, with a sign hanging from it. The sign said, "Do not cross." Ethan stopped. The path on the other side looked beautiful. It led toward green hills and a peaceful forest. But the barrier blocked the way completely. He stood there for a moment and thought, "Well, I guess I can't go that way." So he turned around and started walking back home. But just as he turned, he noticed an old man sitting on a nearby bench. The old man had been quietly watching him. "Why did you turn around?" the old man asked calmly. Ethan pointed toward the barrier. "Because the path is blocked," he said. The old man looked at the barrier, then looked back at Ethan. "Did you try to move it?" he asked. Ethan laughed. "Of course not. Look at it. It's clearly there for a reason." The old man smiled slightly but said nothing. Ethan shrugged and walked home. That night, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about the barrier. The old man's question kept echoing in his mind. "Did you try to move it?" The next day, curiosity pulled him back to the same path. The barrier was still there. The same sign. "Do not cross." Ethan stood there staring at it. Part of him felt silly even thinking about touching it. But another part of him remembered the old man's question. Slowly, he stepped closer. He reached out and pushed the barrier gently. To his surprise, it moved. Just a little. He pushed again. This time the entire barrier shifted easily to the side. Ethan stepped back, confused. The barrier wasn't heavy at all. In fact, it wasn't even fixed to the ground. It was just standing there. Anyone could move it. Anyone could walk past it. But for years, people had simply turned around when they saw the sign. Ethan stood there in silence as a strange realization began forming in his mind. How many barriers in life are exactly like this? Barriers that look real, but only exist because no one questions them. For the first time in a long time, Ethan felt something different. He felt embarrassed. Not because of the barrier on the path, but because of the invisible barriers inside his own mind. All those years he had believed he wasn't ready. He believed he needed more knowledge. He believed the timing wasn't right. He believed success was something far away. But now he started wondering. What if those were just signs? Signs he never tried to move. That moment changed something inside him. Instead of turning around, Ethan walked past the barrier and continued down the path. The forest on the other side was peaceful and beautiful. Sunlight filtered through the trees, and the air smelled fresh and alive. As he walked deeper into the forest, Ethan realized something powerful. Nothing magical happened when he crossed the barrier. The world didn't suddenly change. But he did. For the first time, he understood that starting doesn't require permission. It doesn't require perfection. And it doesn't require certainty. It only requires one simple thing: movement. That same evening, Ethan went home and opened his old notebook where he had written hundreds of ideas over the years. Normally he would spend hours planning, researching, and thinking about the perfect strategy. But this time he did something different. He picked one idea. And he started. No perfect plan. No waiting. Just action. The first day was messy. The second day was confusing. The third day was frustrating. But something interesting happened. Every day became easier. Not because the work became easier, but because the barrier in his mind had disappeared. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into a year. Slowly, Ethan's small actions began turning into real results. The business he once only talked about started growing. The book he dreamed about slowly filled with words. The life he imagined started becoming real. And people in the town began noticing something. Ethan had changed. They asked him, "What happened to you? You used to talk about ideas all the time. Now you actually do things." Ethan would smile and tell them about the barrier on the path. Most people laughed when they heard the story. "It's just a wooden barrier," they would say. But Ethan always replied with the same sentence. "No, it wasn't." Because that barrier represented something much bigger. It represented the invisible wall that stops millions of people from starting. Fear. Overthinking. Self-doubt. The belief that you're not ready yet. The belief that someone else is better. The belief that success requires something special you don't have. But the truth is simple. The barrier does not exist. It only feels real because you haven't pushed it yet. Think about the greatest creators, entrepreneurs, athletes, and leaders in the world. They didn't start because they were fearless. They started because they moved before the fear disappeared. They didn't start because they were ready. They started because waiting forever was worse than starting imperfectly. Most people spend their entire lives standing in front of a barrier that can be moved with one small push. They think they need confidence first. But confidence comes after action. They think they need clarity first. But clarity comes after movement. They think they need the perfect plan. But plans become clear only when you start walking. Imagine if Ethan never went back to that path. Imagine if he believed the sign forever. His life would have stayed exactly the same. And that's what happens to so many people. They believe the sign. Too difficult. Not for people like you. You're too late. You're not talented enough. You need more experience. But signs are not walls. They are just words. And words only have power if you believe them. The moment you question them, everything changes. Years later, Ethan became someone very different from the young man who once only talked about dreams. He built his business. He published his book. He traveled to many places and shared his story with others. But the most important thing he taught people was not about business or success. It was about starting. Whenever someone told him they had a dream but felt stuck, Ethan would ask them a simple question. Have you tried to move the barrier? Most people would pause. Because deep down they knew the truth. They hadn't. They were waiting. Waiting for motivation. Waiting for confidence. Waiting for the right time. But the right time is not something you wait for. It's something you create. The first step always feels uncomfortable. The first attempt always feels awkward. The first move always feels uncertain. But once you push the barrier and see that it moves, everything changes. You realize the path was always open. And the only thing standing between you and your next chapter was hesitation. So if there's something in your life you've been thinking about starting, a dream, a project, a goal, a change, ask yourself one honest question. Is there a real barrier? Or is there just a sign in your mind telling you not to cross? Because the truth is, the barrier does not exist. It never did. And the moment you stop waiting and start moving, you might discover that the path you've been afraid to walk was open the entire time. So today, instead of planning forever, instead of thinking about it again and again, instead of telling yourself one day, push the barrier. Take the first step. Start before you feel ready. Because the most powerful transformation in life doesn't happen when you have everything figured out. It happens the moment you decide to begin. Rocket.